Have you ever felt your legs getting weaker, not from a long day, but for no clear reason at all? What if there's a hidden condition quietly stealing your strength, starting as early as age 50? A condition most doctors never mention. I'm Dr. Carson, a senior health specialist with 30 years of experience. And today, I'm revealing the real cause behind unexplained fatigue, falls, and vanishing muscle, and the 13 everyday foods that could help reverse it all. Let me tell you a story. Not the kind you'll find in medical journals or health magazines. This one began in my clinic with a woman named Eleanor. She was 72, sharp-minded, proud, independent. The kind who still drove herself to church on Sundays and walked her little terrier through the neighborhood every morning, rain or shine. But on that particular Tuesday, she came in not with a list of symptoms, but with a single sentence. "Dr. Carson, I don't feel like myself anymore. No dramatic injury, no illness, just a creeping sense that something inside her was slipping." At first glance, Eleanor looked fine. Her vitals were stable, her labs unremarkable. But then I asked her to rise from the chair. She struggled. It took her 3 tries. Her legs trembled slightly. She forced a smile, but I could see the worry in her eyes. I've seen this look 1,000 times before, and every time it cuts deeper. Because what Eleanor was facing, what millions like her face, isn't listed in most medical brochures. It doesn't show up on a CT scan or scream out through pain. It doesn't knock at your door with a diagnosis in hand. It's something far more silent, more cruel. It's called sarcopenia. And chances are, if you're over 60, it's already begun stealing from you. Muscle by muscle, step by step. You may not notice it at first. Maybe you just feel a bit more tired climbing stairs. Maybe it's harder to carry groceries or get up from your favorite armchair. You chalk it up to getting older. But that's the lie. Because sarcopenia isn't aging. It's a disease. One that's quietly robbing you of your strength, your balance, and eventually, your independence. And by the time most people realize it's happening, it's already taken too much. Here's the part no one tells you. This isn't inevitable. You don't have to lose your strength. You don't have to accept weakness as your new normal. You don't have to live afraid of falling, afraid of needing help to get out of bed, afraid of becoming a burden to the people you love. Because the truth is, and this is backed by science, you can fight back. You can rebuild what's been lost. And you don't need a gym membership or expensive medication to do it. All you need is the right food. In this video, I'm going to reveal 13 specific foods that have been shown in real scientific studies to reverse muscle loss even in people well into their 80s. These aren't obscure superfoods or trendy supplements. These are everyday ingredients you can find in your local grocery store. Some of them you probably already eat, but not in the right way, or at the right time, or in the right combinations. Others might surprise you entirely. And one of them? One of them is likely missing from your kitchen right now. A single ingredient that could mean the difference between walking unassisted or needing support. Between getting up from the floor with ease or not getting up at all. But before we get there, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you felt weaker lately? Do you feel a little less stable on your feet? A little more tired at the end of the day? If you answered yes, even slightly, then stay with me, because this may be the most important video you'll see this year. I'm going to break down exactly what sarcopenia is, why it starts around age 50, and most importantly, how you can stop it, or even reverse it, using nothing but natural, accessible, science-backed nutrition. And if you care about someone over 60, a parent, a partner, a friend, please share this video with them. It could change the way they age. It could even save their life. Now, if this is the kind of information you wish more people had access to, and you want to see more science-backed, real-world strategies for living stronger, longer, then hit that subscribe button right now. Supporting this channel helps us reach more people like you, people who refuse to surrender their strength to time. Let's grow stronger together. Now, before we dive into the 13 foods that can reverse muscle loss, I want to hear from you. Question for you. What's the biggest challenge you've noticed in your body as you've aged? A. You feel your legs have gotten weaker over time, especially when standing up or climbing stairs. B. You feel just as strong as ever, but you're curious about prevention. Drop your answer, A or B, in the comments below. I read every single one. Or just type 1 if you've ever noticed someone you love struggling with these symptoms. Let's start this conversation. Let's build strength, not just in our bodies, but in our community. When I first started researching muscle loss in older adults, I assumed the cause was obvious. Inactivity, poor diet, maybe just the natural aging process. But the deeper I looked, through research, real patient experiences, and years of clinical observation, the more I realized the truth was far more complex and far more important to understand. Let me share something that changed the way I see aging forever. It began with a study out of Tufts University. They followed a group of adults over the age of 60 for 5 years and found something startling. Even those who ate what we'd consider a healthy diet and remained physically active still lost up to 30% of their muscle mass. These were people doing everything right. So what was going wrong? The answer, as it turns out, is hidden deep inside the aging body, in the way it processes signals, nutrients, and stress. As we age, our bodies undergo a process known as anabolic resistance. Simply put, our muscles stop responding to protein and exercise the way they used to. The same workout, the same steak dinner that once kept your legs strong at 40 now barely holds the line at 70. It's not that your body doesn't want to build muscle. It's that it can't recognize the signal anymore. It's like shouting into a fog. But that's only one layer. There's also inflammation. Not the kind you get from an injury, but a slow, steady burn that begins in your gut and spreads through your bloodstream. Scientists now believe this inflammaging is one of the key accelerators of muscle breakdown. It interferes with hormone signals, disrupts recovery, and puts your muscles in a constant state of low-grade stress. You don't feel it, but your strength quietly fades day by day. Then there's the gut microbiome, a community of bacteria inside you, working, or sometimes working against you. With age, the balance of good and bad bacteria shifts. That shift means fewer nutrients are absorbed, more toxins are circulated, and muscle tissue receives less of what it needs to thrive. A poorly functioning gut doesn't just affect digestion, it directly impacts how your muscles repair, grow, and survive. And perhaps the most underappreciated factor? Hormones. Men and women both experience a natural decline in testosterone, growth hormone, and IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, with age. These hormones aren't just about libido or energy. They're the signals that tell your body to maintain its muscle mass, to stay lean, to stay mobile. Without them, your muscles don't just shrink, they atrophy. So the question becomes, can we interrupt this process? The good news, the very good news, is yes. What I discovered through the research is that while we may not be able to stop aging, we can absolutely influence how our bodies respond to it. And the most powerful way to do that? Through food. But not just any food. What matters most is the quality of the protein you eat, how often you eat it, the presence of anti-inflammatory nutrients, and how well your gut and hormones are supported by what's on your plate. This isn't about loading up on supplements or living off grilled chicken and protein shakes. It's about learning what your body truly needs after 60, and giving it those tools consistently. Let's take leucine, for example. This amino acid is like a spark plug for muscle growth. But older adults need almost double the amount compared to younger people to get the same effect. That means choosing foods that are not just high in protein, but rich in leucine specifically. Foods like whey, eggs, and lean meats. Omega-3s, commonly found in fatty fish, are another essential. These fats don't just support your heart, they improve your muscles' sensitivity to protein, reduce inflammation, and even stimulate muscle regeneration at a cellular level. Multiple studies, including one published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, show that older adults who regularly consumed omega-3s saw a measurable improvement in muscle mass and functional strength over just a few months. Then there's vitamin D, crucial for muscle contraction and balance. Yet studies show nearly 50% of adults over 65 are deficient, especially in northern states. And without enough vitamin D, even the best diet can't perform at its peak. But here's what surprised me most. It's not about one miracle nutrient. It's about how all of these elements work together: protein, omega-3s, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, supported by a healthy gut and optimized hormone response. When aligned correctly, the results are extraordinary. I've seen 80-year-olds regain strength they hadn't felt in years. I've watched people who once feared falling start walking with confidence again. And in almost every case, the change didn't come from drastic exercise regimens or expensive therapies. It came from understanding their body's changing needs and feeding those needs wisely. Nutrition is not a supporting player in the fight against age-related muscle loss. It is the lead actor. That's why, in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the 13 specific foods that research and clinical evidence point to as the most powerful allies in rebuilding muscle, reducing inflammation, and restoring strength. These foods aren't hard to find. They're not exotic. Many of them are already in your kitchen. They just need to be used strategically. So before you reach for another pill or write off your weakness as just part of getting older, listen closely. Because what's happening to your body might not be aging. It might be a warning. And what you choose to eat tomorrow could change how strong you feel a month from now. We're not just going to survive aging. We're going to outsmart it. One bite at a time. I remember the exact moment I realized food was more powerful than any prescription I'd ever written. It was with a patient named Harold. He was 78, recently widowed, and his adult children had brought him in after he fell twice in a single week. Once getting out of bed, and once in the grocery store. He didn't break anything, thankfully, but what struck me most was how shaken he was. Not just physically, but emotionally. Harold had always been a proud, self-reliant man. Now he was afraid to go for a walk alone. After running the usual tests, I confirmed what I suspected. Harold was losing muscle mass, fast. His grip strength was down. His legs were noticeably weaker. But here's what surprised him, and what surprises most people. I didn't start with a list of exercises or medications. I started with his grocery list. What Harold ate, or didn't eat, was slowly breaking down his body's foundation. So we changed that. Not with some trendy diet or expensive shake, but with real, simple, strategic foods that were scientifically shown to trigger muscle growth, reduce inflammation, and restore vitality in people his age. Within 6 weeks, Harold was moving more confidently. In 12, he was walking around his neighborhood without a cane. That wasn't luck. That was biology, fueled properly. Let me share with you the 13 foods I introduced to Harold's diet, and why they matter more than most people could ever imagine. Greek yogurt became our first hero. Unlike regular yogurt, it's strained, which means it's packed with protein, particularly casein, a slow-digesting form that feeds your muscles while you sleep. That's critical because during sleep, your body goes into a fasting state, and for seniors, this can accelerate muscle breakdown. A bowl of plain Greek yogurt before bed acts like an overnight muscle-preserving shield. Next, I encouraged Harold to eat more fatty fish like salmon and sardines. These aren't just good for the heart. They're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA. These compounds improve your body's ability to absorb and use protein. They also reduce chronic inflammation, which is one of the biggest contributors to muscle degeneration in older adults. A grilled salmon fillet twice a week is more powerful than most people think. I also brought eggs back into his morning routine. For years, Harold avoided them because of outdated fears about cholesterol. But modern science has cleared that up. Eggs, yolks included, are nutritional powerhouses. The yolk contains choline for nerve function, vitamin D, and leucine, a critical amino acid that signals your body to build new muscle. It's not just about eating protein, it's about triggering growth, and eggs do exactly that. Nuts and seeds, almonds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, were added as snacks or salad toppings. They're small but mighty. Magnesium for muscle contraction, zinc for hormone support, vitamin E for protecting muscle tissue from oxidative stress. Just a small handful each day can make a real difference in maintaining lean mass. Beans and legumes became part of his weekly meals. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans. These are often overlooked, but they deliver plant-based protein, iron for oxygen delivery to muscles, and resistant starch that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. A healthier gut means better nutrient absorption and better muscle recovery. I couldn't leave out dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, Swiss chard. These aren't just health food. They contain natural nitrates that improve blood flow and oxygen delivery to muscle fibers. More oxygen means better performance, less fatigue, and faster healing. They're also rich in vitamin K and magnesium, both crucial for muscle and bone synergy. Then there was olive oil. Harold had switched to low-fat cooking sprays, thinking they were healthier, but his body was starving for quality fats. Extra virgin olive oil contains polyphenols that fight inflammation and support hormone production. It also improves insulin sensitivity, which helps muscles use the fuel they're given. 2 tablespoons a day drizzled over salads or vegetables helped turn his meals into medicine. I added berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. These are more than tasty snacks. They're loaded with antioxidants that protect muscle cells from age-related damage. As we get older, oxidative stress ramps up, and that damages not just our skin or brain, but our muscle fibers too. A cup of berries a day is like internal armor. Lean red meat made a comeback too. Carefully chosen cuts like sirloin or tenderloin provided complete protein and creatine, a natural compound that enhances muscle energy and recovery. Importantly, red meat contains more leucine per serving than most plant proteins, making it ideal for stimulating muscle growth in seniors who are struggling to regain strength. Whey protein, once reserved for bodybuilders, became one of Harold's morning staples. It's the fastest digesting protein and has the highest concentration of leucine. For older adults who don't eat enough protein at breakfast, a whey shake is like a jumpstart for your muscles. Research has shown that seniors who consume whey after light resistance training gain significantly more muscle than those who don't, even without pushing themselves hard. Oatmeal was a surprise to Harold. He thought it was only good for lowering cholesterol, But oats provide sustained energy through complex carbohydrates, a bit of plant protein, and fiber that feeds gut bacteria. They help maintain stable blood sugar levels, which is essential for muscle preservation. Paired with milk or Greek yogurt and a handful of berries, it became a daily breakfast ritual for him. For variety, I introduced tofu and tempeh, both soy-based, both complete proteins. Tempeh especially, with its fermentation, improved his digestion and nutrient absorption. They offered an excellent alternative when he wanted to skip meat without sacrificing muscle support. Lastly, we embraced the avocado. Often overlooked, avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats that help regulate testosterone and growth hormone levels. They're also high in potassium, which supports muscle contractions. Just a few tablespoons a day can help maintain the hormonal environment needed for muscle maintenance. These weren't magic fixes. They weren't silver bullets. But when combined, when used consistently, they created a metabolic environment in Harold's body that allowed muscle to be rebuilt. Slowly, steadily, naturally. And that's what I want for you. Not just more years, but stronger years. Independent years. Years where you feel in control of your body and your choices. These 13 foods are not just ingredients, they are tools. Tools that, when used correctly, can give you back what time tried to take. You don't have to accept weakness. You don't have to surrender to the slow fade. You can push back. With every meal, with every bite, with every decision, you can begin again. Stronger, smarter, resilient. Just like Harold. Just like you. There's something humbling about watching someone reclaim what they thought was lost forever. I remember sitting across from Margaret, a 74-year-old woman who had once been a professional pianist. She had hands that used to move with grace and precision. But when she came to see me, her movements were slow, stiff. She wasn't there because of her hands, though. She was there because she had fallen in her kitchen while trying to carry a pot of soup. Not because she slipped, but because her legs simply gave out. She cried when she told me. Not because of the fall, but because of what it represented. "I'm scared," she said, "that my body is giving up before my mind is ready." That fear, the quiet realization that your strength, your independence, your ability to move through the world is slipping away, is something I've seen again and again. It doesn't matter how much money someone has, how sharp their mind remains, or how determined they are. When your body betrays you, you feel helpless. And helplessness, especially in old age, is a thief more insidious than time. But here's what I told Margaret, what I've told countless others. This isn't the end of your story. This is the chapter where you take control. Because food is only part of the puzzle. What you do with that food, how you move, how you think, how you rebuild habits, that's where the transformation becomes lasting. But we don't leap from weakness to strength overnight. We move one choice at a time. So we started small. I had Margaret keep a journal. Nothing fancy, just a notebook where she'd write how her body felt each morning, what she ate, what movements felt harder or easier. This simple act helped her become aware of patterns she'd ignored for years. She noticed that after eating certain foods, she had more energy. After her morning stretches, her stiffness eased. She began noticing her body again, not as a failing machine, but as a system capable of response and recovery. And that's the key. Your body isn't broken. It's responsive. It's waiting for signals. And the way you eat, the way you move, the way you rest, these are signals. When you send the right ones, your muscles remember. They grow. They stabilize. They heal. It doesn't take extreme workouts. For Margaret, we started with basic sit-to-stand repetitions from a sturdy chair. 5 at a time. Then walks around her living room. Eventually, down the block. I encouraged her to treat each step not as exercise, but as a message to her muscles. You still matter. We paired these movements with the foods we discussed in the last segment. After her walks, she'd drink a whey protein shake with Greek yogurt and a few berries. Not because she liked the taste at first, she didn't, but because she understood the purpose. After about a month, she began to crave it, not for the flavor, but for what it symbolized: strength returning. I also asked her to engage her mind. Muscle loss often brings emotional fatigue. You feel defeated before you even try. That's why mindset matters. I told her, your muscles are not gone. They're dormant. And the moment you stop believing they can come back is the moment they won't. So we celebrated the small wins. One day, she was able to climb the stairs without holding the rail. A week later, she could carry her groceries up those same stairs. She wrote in her journal, "Today, I didn't feel old." That line stuck with me, because aging isn't a disease, but losing your vitality, your control over your own body, feels like one. And when you start to reclaim that, even in small ways, your confidence returns. Your identity returns. Margaret's story isn't unique. I've seen this kind of transformation in countless patients. But it only happens when two things align: knowledge and consistency. The knowledge of what to eat, how to move, how your body works, that's the part I can help with. But consistency, the decision to act daily, that's yours. It's easy to dismiss small steps. Easy to think, what's one scoop of protein powder? Or, what difference does a short walk make? But I can tell you, from science and experience, these moments stack. They build resilience. They change your body, not in loud, dramatic ways, but in quiet, powerful ones. I've watched people in their 80s regain the ability to garden again. I've seen men who once needed walkers dance at their grandchildren's weddings. Not because of miracles, but because of consistent, focused choices rooted in understanding. It doesn't take perfection, just direction. If you've ever felt like you're sliding backward, like your legs don't feel as steady, like getting out of bed feels heavier, I want you to remember this. That feeling is not permanent. Your body is not done responding. It just needs the right cues. Eat to rebuild. Move to signal. Rest to recover. Reflect to stay connected. Because this journey isn't just about avoiding falls or improving balance. It's about reclaiming your presence in your own life. It's about waking up and trusting your body again. It's about sitting at the piano like Margaret now does, hands steady, legs strong, back upright, playing music not just with her fingers, but with a body that once again feels like hers. That's the power of intention. That's the gift of patience. That's what's possible for you, and you don't need to do it alone. You have me. You have this community. And you have the knowledge, now, to begin. The rest? That's one brave decision at a time. When I look back over the last 20 years of practicing medicine, one truth stands out more than any prescription I've ever written. The most powerful changes don't come from emergency room interventions or surgeries. They come from moments of quiet decision. Moments when someone decides they are not ready to give up. I think about Walter, a former firefighter, 82 years old. He used to be built like a tree trunk, solid, unshakable. But when I met him, he had shrunk into himself. His hands trembled, his back hunched. His voice, once booming, was thin and tired. He told me he used to run into burning buildings without a second thought. But now, he was afraid to step into the shower alone. That fear, I've learned, is not rooted in weakness. It's rooted in grief. Grief over a body that doesn't feel like it belongs to you anymore. Grief over losing strength, balance, identity. But what if I told you that strength could return? Not just physically, but emotionally. That the version of you thought was gone could still be rebuilt. Not in the exact same shape, but with the same fire, the same pride. Walter didn't want to die weak. He told me that, plainly. He said, "If I go, Doc, I want to go with dignity, standing on my own damn feet." That became our goal. Not immortality, not perfection, but dignity, presence, power. So, we made a plan. He changed how he ate. He started moving again. He followed the protocols I laid out in the videos before this. Week by week, he started to regain what he thought was gone forever. And eventually, Walter stood tall in his living room and told me, "I'm not afraid anymore." That's what I want for you. Because here's the thing. Sarcopenia, muscle loss, doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't knock on your door and announce itself. It arrives quietly, like a fog. And if you don't act, it steals more than muscle. It takes your independence, your balance, your will. But you're not powerless. Science has shown, clearly, repeatedly, that the foods you eat, the choices you make daily, can reverse this process. This is not theory. This is not a guess. This is proven. These foods, the ones I've spent this video walking you through, have helped thousands of men and women over 60 not just survive aging, but fight it. And I believe that knowledge alone isn't enough. You need a reason to act. So here's yours. Every day you wait is a day you may not get back. Every day your muscles go underfed, underused, undercared for. They weaken just a little more. And while it's never too late to begin, there does come a point where the climb back becomes harder. So don't wait. Not for Monday, not for the next doctor's appointment. Start today. Look in your fridge. Open your cabinets. Find just one of the foods I've mentioned. Greek yogurt, salmon, eggs, berries. Start with one. Eat it with purpose. Not because a doctor told you to, but because you're reclaiming something sacred, your strength. Then move, just a little. Stretch. Walk. Stand up and sit down from a chair 10 times. Lift your arms. Breathe deeply. Tell your body, "I'm still here. I'm not done." I've said it before and I'll say it again. Aging is not the enemy. Decline is. Giving up is. The story you write from here is not decided by time. It's decided by you. So as I close this final chapter of today's message, I want to leave you with a question. Not a question to answer for me, but for yourself. What will the next 30 days look like? Will they be another quiet surrender, where each step becomes a little slower, each task a little harder? Or will they be the start of something different? A return, a quiet rebellion, a rebuilding. You don't need to leap into a new life. You only need to step, one meal, one breath, one morning where you say, "Not today, not without a fight." And if this message spoke to you, if even one part of it echoed in your heart, I want to invite you to do 2 things. First, subscribe to this channel. Not for me, but for you, so that you don't miss what comes next. The strategies, the stories, the tools, all designed to walk with you side by side through the most important transformation of your later years. Second, share your commitment. In the comments below, write one sentence. I choose strength. Let's fill this space with voices, not just mine, but yours. People refusing to be sidelined. People writing a new ending. People like you. Because you're not just aging, you're still becoming. And it's time the world and your own body remembers that. When we look at the quiet erosion of strength in aging bodies, we often see it as an inevitable part of growing old, as if muscle loss, fatigue, and dependence are written into our DNA after the age of 60. But now, you know better. You've seen the truth hidden beneath layers of myths and silence. You've seen the power that lies in knowledge, and in the simple yet deliberate choices that build strength, resilience, and vitality at any age. The foods we choose, the way we move, and even how we think about our bodies all play vital roles in either contributing to decline or reversing it. Sarcopenia is not just about muscles. It's about independence, dignity, and the ability to fully participate in life. Reclaiming your strength is more than physical. It's emotional, psychological, even spiritual. It's about saying, I still matter. I still have power. You've learned that your body is not too old to rebuild, that muscle can return, balance can improve, and life can feel vibrant again. Not because of a miracle cure, but because of science, food, movement, and belief, working in harmony. The path forward doesn't require perfection. It requires intention. And the beautiful truth is, the smallest changes, a scoop of yogurt at night, a short daily walk, a handful of berries, a few gentle chair squats, can set off a ripple of recovery. Every meal is a message to your body. Every movement is a spark. And those sparks, when consistent, reignite the fire within. So here is your invitation. Take this knowledge and do something with it. Not tomorrow, today. Your future self, stronger, more confident, more independent, will thank you. Let this be your starting point, not your ending. Let this message live in your actions, not just your memory. You are not powerless. You are not alone. And the fight for strength is one you can win, every day, one decision at a time. The lesson: aging is real, but decline is not inevitable. The most profound power you have is your ability to choose, to learn, to act, and to keep going even when it feels hard. Apply this by starting small. Choose one muscle rebuilding food today. Move intentionally. Reflect on how you feel. And repeat tomorrow. Build a routine that serves the version of you you're becoming. Stronger, steadier, and more alive. Now I'd love to hear from you. What is one small action you're going to take today to start reclaiming your strength? Comment your answer below. Even just one sentence. Your insight might inspire someone else who's on the same journey. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel so we can continue bringing science-based, compassionate, and empowering content for healthy aging. And if you feel moved to support our mission of reaching more seniors with vital health education, consider leaving a donation through the link below. Every bit helps us keep going and keeps this message reaching the people who need it most. Thank you for being here. Your strength starts now.